Last week it was the sand dunes of Holland. This week we've got the sandy beaches of Australia. The iRacing Formula Renault 2.0 Championship is now onto Phillip Island, just off the south of Melbourne here in Australia. Martin van Loosenord, he's won 2 out of 2 here on Friday night prime time. Can he make it 3 wins out of 3? We'll find out very shortly here on Friday night prime time on Racebot TV and on live on iRacing Live. We'll be right back after these messages. It's Friday night prime time here on Racebot TV, streaming on iRacing Live. And what a race we've got for you tonight. It's the iRacing Formula Renault 2.0 Championship, and we're here at Phillip Island. A completely different contrasting style of track to last week at Zandvoort. Phillip Island has got long sweeping corners, some tight hairpins, and plenty of overtaking opportunities. My name is Paul Smith, alongside me is Randy Chenoweth with Hugo Louis on the cameras. And well, Randy, we've seen Martin van Loosenord win 2 out of 2. We're just in qualifying at the moment, and can he make it 3 out of 3?
It's going to be interesting to see. He's won at the 2 varying styles of track thus far anyways. Race 1 was obviously Spa, and last week at Zandvoort. It'll be very interesting to see. I don't think he's currently turned a qualifying lap. I believe he should be out on track now, and indeed he is. But yeah, Phillip Island, a very interesting circuit compared to what we saw last week at Zandvoort. A lot more height speed and a lot more high-speed corners here. And really, I think the interesting fact here with Phillip Island is you have a very fast first about half of the lap or so, whereas the second half of the lap really tightens up.
Absolutely, and well, it's as you say, contrasting layout through this circuit, but plenty of overtaking opportunities. You've got the well, straight away from down the pit straight down into Dewan Corner, you can make overtaking manoeuvres there, having seen several people go around the outside of turn 1 there, which gives you the inside for the southern loop, turn 2. You got down into Honda Corner as well, that's another good overtaking opportunity, and then you got the tricky one, which is down into turn 10 just after the Lukey Height.
Yeah, that's definitely the tricky one, and that's really the one a lot of people try. They'll either try to sneak it up the inside through 9 into Lukey Heights to try to get by, or you might even see people try to run around the outside of Lukey Heights so that they have the inside in turn 10, which is after that very steep downhill braking zone. But yeah, a lot more passing opportunities here. I think obviously the big one is going to be heading into turn 1 and turn number 4. Turn number 4 can be a little bit scary, gets a little bit narrow. Got to make sure you don't get on the grass, as we saw a couple years ago in the V8 Supercar Series, where we saw a car get on the grass and basically slide into another car at almost full speed.
Yeah, absolutely. You can have some accidents here at this circuit, but there's certainly opportunities to be had there. And at the moment in qualifying, Riley Preston, his pole position provisionally for the time being, with Martin van Loosenord in 2nd place, Matt Rez in 3rd, with Bruno Ducamo in 4th place. And well, Randy, we've seen some pretty close times here. I mean, from 1st all the way down to 20th place, covered by 1 second.
Yeah, that's always good to see. This championship has proven to be very, very competitive in these times. They're definitely showing it. Martin van Loosenord currently off pole by about 0.02 of a second. He's heading through Lukey Heights now, down into turn 10. 2 more corners here on his final lap, and I'm sure he wants to get the pole here from Riley Preston. If there's anyone here that wants to see a three-peat, it's definitely Martin Van Loosenhoord.
Absolutely, and what you find with this Formula Renault is that the tyres, they don't give you everything on that first flying lap, so you want to get 2 flying laps done. As Martin Van Loosenhoord seemed a bit slower, maybe coming out that final corner, but across the line he goes. He does improve his time by only 0.03 of a second, so he's not going to get on pole. And, Riley Preston showing the early pace here in qualifying.
Yeah, Riley Preston, 300ths up, that's not a huge amount, but we, like you were saying, we have insanely close qualifying here. The top 2 separated by 300ths. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th are all in the same 10th. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, all within the same 10th. 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, all. This is just insanely close qualifying here at Phillip Island, which is normally what we were accustomed to seeing.
And what you're going to see is the draft come into effect, especially down on the Gardner Straight down into Doon Corner, and you certainly can make it work down the inside.
Yeah, you can make it. Certainly, you can make it work down the inside. It's a bit of a brave move because that is it is probably flat out in these cars. All the downforce they have as you head down into the southern loop, and then for the sweeping flat out easy left of Stoner. But yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting turn 1 here. I think it's going to be pay to be on the outside of turn 1 here at the start of this race, just simply because the outside will be you'll still be flat because you're working from the standing start, and then into turn 2 you'll have the inside lane.
So in pole position then, it is Riley Preston with Martin Van Loosenhoord in 2nd place, Matt Perez in 3rd with Bruno D'Acamo in 4th, Justin Brunner 5th place with Klaus Ellenbrand in 6th place, Ian De Vries in 7th with David Jarvis in 8th, Fabio D'Acamo in 9th, David Williams in 10th. Ken Bollock-Bassey, we don't really speak about him much, but he's there in 11th place. Phillip Leibert in 12th. Lucas Gosch in 13th with John Allett in 14th. Cy Andre in 15th with Angus Wadden in 16th. Tony Repsard in 17th place, Joel Goyes in 18th place with Jordi Lopez Jr. 19th. Tom Ward, Patrick Raymond, Jurgen Frank and Burkhard Meiring round out your grid. And well, Randy, we could see some interesting moves on this opening lap. Cold tyres, the conditions here, they're the cold air temperature, but the track temperature 104 degrees, so certainly a bit of temperature in that track.
Yeah, the atmosphere is certainly cold, but we don't have a lot of clouds in the sky, so because of that, the track really is holding a lot of that heat. As here in about 30 seconds, we're going to be expecting to go green. And who do you think is going to have the jump going out in turn 1, Riley or Martin? Or maybe that's second.
We've seen how. Well, yeah, absolutely. We've seen how good Martin Van Loosenhoord is in this car. As we say, 2 out of 2 Friday night prime time. But Riley Preston, you don't underestimate him. It's pretty much home ground for him. So he's wanted to impress and shine. I'm sure he'll have put in plenty of practice laps in here. We're just waiting for 1 car to grid, and then we'll be all set for the start of this race. And well, we're ready now for the red light to come on that gantry, and the iRacing Formula Renault 2.0 Championship is getting ready for the start. Then look to the gantry. The green flag is out, and Matt Van Loosenhoord, fantastic getaway there from Matt Van Loosenhoord. Great launch there. Riley Preston on the inside, he's trying to hold on to that 2nd place because there's Matt Perez coming along around the outside, and he's under pressure on the inside as well. And well, are they all going to make it through that first turn? Yes, they are, and into the southern loop now. Riley Preston having to just rolling into 2nd place there, but Matt Van Loosenhoord, brilliant start there from him.
Yeah, he almost made that look easy as we
got
down
cars off.
On a hairpin. Had a couple cars off in the back. They're fanning out 2 abreast, but they're getting themselves nicely spread out here on this first lap, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Into the Honda corner then. Whether they all get through without any damage, all seem to be behaving so far. So everybody keeping their front wings and the nose cones intact. But out front, as we say, Matt Van Loosenhoord in the lead of this one. Riley Preston in 2nd place with Matt Perez in 3rd. Bruno D'Acamo in 4th with Ian De Vries in 5th. And Justin Brunner in 6th place. As they come in to Lukey Heights, and then you've got that really steep downhill braking section. So easy to lock up a brake here.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's one of the most iconic corners in Australian motorsports here. Very, very famous section of track where you'll see the V8
David Williams has been turned. We've got a car rolled. Who is that that's rolled? I think that might be Campbell Massey. It is. He's gone flying over there in the hairpin. And well, we were hoping that there wouldn't be any incidents here, but David Williams just gets a little bit of contact there, and around over goes Campbell Massey. That's a big incident there, Randy.
Yeah, it certainly is. He was kind of an innocent bystander there. The incident was actually between Fabio Di Carmo and David Williams. They got into each other. Fabio got a bit loose. Fabio caught the car and he basically shot right into the side of Cam there. It's a really, really unfortunate event there for Cam. Taken out of this race basically for really no fault of his own. Absolutely.
We've always said how good he's been in these races, and well, unfortunately, it's not the case today. But Matt Van Loosenhoorn's still in the lead, but Riley Preston been onto the back of him behind them. Let's see, who's that battling side by side? David Jarvis was trying it on there with Justin Brunner, but not able to make it through the back there through Siberia.
Yeah, they definitely aren't. This field has done a very nice job of fanning out with the exception of that early incident. I don't think we've seen anything else. But looking out front, Martin Van Loosenhoorn got himself a half-second advantage here. And we've seen this at Spa and we saw it at Zandvoort. If Martin can get himself out front, Martin tends to just check out regardless of where he qualifies. And we're starting to see that again. It's a 0.46 second gap at the last time around. He's coming off turn 12 now. We're going to get a look at the timing here as they go to finish this lap, and we'll see what the timing is there. I think if Martin gives himself a 3/4 of a second gap, he's going to be gone.
David Jarvis is going side by side here with Justin Brunner as they go into Doohan Corner, and it's really difficult to get through here. You can go flat out round here. The downforce generated is enough to keep the car on the track, and David Jarvis makes it ahead of Justin Brunner around that corner.
Yeah, not only that, we saw going into turn 1 there, Mark Perez managed to get himself around Riley Preston, and that's a change for position here for second place. Mark Perez, he's been in these all of these big races we've been bringing to you guys here on iRacing Primetime. However, he's been running generally a little bit further down in the top 5. It's good to see him getting out towards the pointy end of this field. It's going to be interesting to see if he can really compete here with the Martin, as we actually had a car off and on the corner.
Yeah, we have, and all sorts of action going on. We've got cars further back. Lucas Koch is certainly in a battle here. He's got Joel Guez and Jordi Lopez Jr. as well as Tony Repsod, and they're all in this battle together for the time being, Randy.
Yeah, they certainly are. Very, very tight racing here, which is what we expected to see with the tight corners here. Really bunches up the field as well as that draft down that front straightaway. Out front, Riley Preston has lost the back of Mark Perez there, and Riley Preston is starting to fall almost like a rock. He's now getting challenged from Arjun de Vries, and Bruno Di Carmo isn't too much further back here. As Riley Preston, Arjun's going to go down the outside of the turn 1. We talked about this. He's going to have the inside line going into the southern loop, although he actually backs out of it there. Riley Preston's certainly under a bit of a trouble right now, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly losing time, losing positions, but he is really losing ground on Matt Perez ahead. But side by side again, and the trouble with going on the outside of turn 1 is that the braking is around the turn into turn 2, and the southern loop. It's so easy to lock up and run wide around there, and it's so easy to collect the car that's alongside you.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's not a very straight braking zone, which is obviously ideal. With it being curved, it's very, very easy to get that car loose, or even lock up a front tire and push out into a car that's on the outside of you there. As Martin Van Loosenhoorn, as I was talking about, beginning to stretch that gap. It's up to 3/4 of a second, which I said was kind of the time we need to really look for. That's when he'll start breaking the draft here of Mark Perez. Riley Preston, though, still losing time to Arjun de Vries, and it's going to be interesting to watch here going down to turn 1. Arjun's going to have this draft again, and if Riley, it'll be interesting to see how much Riley really defends here.
It is an 18-lap race, and well, we are on to lap number 5 here. And well, here we go. Ian De Vries round the outside again into Doan corner. This time he's a little bit further ahead. Riley Preston giving him the space to work there and into the southern loop. Ian De Vries is up into 3rd place. Good overtaking manoeuvre there from him, and right behind them, Bruno De Carmo is all over the back of Riley Preston already. So Riley, he's just going backwards in this. He was able to get a good lap time in for qualifying, but in the race here, really struggling, having a look, just looking all over the back of that gearbox of Ian De Vries, but able to make it past into Honda corner.
Yeah, his lap times actually aren't that far off the likes of Martin and Mark. He's been running his last lap with a 26.1. Martin Van Leeuwenhoek's reference rate of 25.9. So I'm curious, Riley might just be running a bit more aero on that car and simply going down the front straightaway. He might just basically be, essentially have a parachute on the back of that yellow Formula Renault, and he might just be, unable to work the draft whatsoever. That might just be all that's really costing him.
Absolutely. Riley Preston, of course, was driving for Evolution Race in Australia. So he should know this track, of course, the Australian Riley Preston. As they come around the final corner here, turn 12. It's 12-turn lap here, and he's got that draft now. He's right behind Ian De Vries, and he's going to look to the inside of Doan. Ian maybe just holding it out to the outside of Riley. Well, he's fleeing past him, so he's obviously got a lot of straight line speed there.
Yeah, actually unsure what's been going on. Those first couple laps were really weird from Riley. The way he dropped off the back of the likes of Martin and the likes of Marc Perez. Very, very odd to see someone who qualified so strongly fall like that early and yet still being able to fight back now at this stage. It's really interesting what might be going on.
Maybe he fancies a challenge. That's what it is. As well, you don't want to let the guys in front pull away too much. Marc Perez is 1 second behind Martin van Loozenhoorn, and we've got a battle here. John Allott is involved in the battle here. Tom Ward ahead of him with Tony Rapsod behind, and well, it's a 3-car battle. It's for that.
Got a spin behind him. Patrick Raymond has spun it going through to Siberia. No contact, just looped it all on his own. So carry on, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Good call on that one there. Randy, as we go through Loogie Heights now into turn 10, you lock up that front right wheel, but it's pretty much off the ground there at that point, so not really going to cause too much problems in terms of tyre wear. But John Allott now, at the moment, he's got that car of Tony Rapsod right behind him, and he's got looking busy as Ian De Vries has made it back ahead of Riley Preston up at the front.
Yeah, battles forming all up and down this field right now. Riley Preston is, he's going to definitely want to try to get that spot back from Arjen. Meanwhile, looking back out front, Martin van Loozenhoorn has continued to stretch that gap over Marc Perez, who has himself a 1 second gap over the likes of Riley Preston. And really what Mark and Martin really love to see right now is those two fighting the way they are, because that's going to allow them to just log laps and just stretch a gap.
Absolutely. John Allott doing a fantastic job running it out wide through turn 1, through doing corner. Looking to the inside, though, to Honda corner is Tony Rapsod, but not able to make it past for the time being. And, just having to fall in line. There's not really too many overtaking spots once you've gone out to Honda corner until you get through Loogie Heights down into that turn 10.
Yeah, really from turn 4 all the way, like you said, to Loogie Heights and turn 10, it really is single file. There's just not enough racetrack, really, as the John Allott is going to be looking to get a run here as they go into this, down into Loogie Heights, rather, excuse me. And, we got a car behind us, a little loose. I think it was Angus Waddle. The car wiggled a little bit, just a little bit as it came up and over the hill of Loogie Heights. Definitely good to see that he's able to keep hold on to it, and he's going to be really pushing hard as we see him putting 2 wheels off onto the dirt, come to turn 12 to try to keep with this pack of 3 cars in front of him. He's done a good job. He's going to have that slipstream going down into 1. I don't think he'll be able to make a move, but he's going to be able to just hold station and keep that gap as right now Arjen De Vries has stretched a little bit of a gap over Riley Preston, about a half a second or so. And Riley Preston, actually, his last lap was a little bit slow. He ran a 26.0, about a half second off the likes of Arjen. So Riley's going to need to keep this pace to not really fall into the grips of Bruno De Carmo.
We're side by side. Angus Waddle, the man who had that little bit of a shimmy and a shake, side by side going into Honda. He's squeezing Tony Repsard into Honda, and well, he's going to try and run it round the outside. He's going to be a good move if he manages to hold on to it there, but he's got the inside for Siberia now, and he's going to make this move stick, and he has. So good work from Angus Waddle to make that move. It started all the way back at turn 1. And so it's amazing how you could just carry that through all the way through to Honda corner.
Yeah, that's the sort of racing you can see here at Phillip Island. If you can't get that move done, it's going to move into the next set of corners. And, well, basically we saw a situation where both drivers couldn't really get the move finished. And because of that, they were side by side for quite a while. We have an incident actually coming through into turn 11, I believe that's Jordi Lopez Jr., who was off the track. He's basically re-merging right in between this battle ahead of John Allett and Tom Ward and this battle between Waddell and Repsard.
And Riley Preston is into third place ahead of Ian De Vries, so able to get the run through that final turn 12, carry the speed all the way down the straight, and able to make that move stick before turn 1. Just that slipstream, that draft, and able to make the move before turn 1 with that extra speed. But yeah, Riley Preston up into third now, so good work from him. Can he make the move forward? Because he is 1 second behind Matt Perez for the time being, but Martin van Loosenhout only 1.5 seconds ahead of Perez, so not able to walk away with it like he has in a couple of the other races.
Yeah, certainly not. Obviously, we saw in the first 2 rounds he was a little bit more pressured. We saw in the early state, Spa, we saw that huge 3-way battle the whole way through. And as Zandvoort in that early stages, we saw that 5-car train up for the lead until some mistakes basically turned that into a 2-car battle. But Mark's doing a very, very good job here to keep station to Martin and really keep him honest. But we're seeing some interesting battles for him all the way up and down this field right now, Paul.
Absolutely. Well, this battle for third place, you've got Ian De Vries, Bruno De Carmo. Now Klaus Ellenbrand is getting onto the back of this battle. So, well, that certainly is getting close. So Ellenbrand is just keeping an eye on this as De Vries looking now to the inside towards Doohan Corner. He's maybe not got the absolute top speed that Riley Preston has, but he does make that move stick. And for the time being, I think Riley Preston's happy to just let him by, because it's all about being in the right place at the right time for Riley. And, well, at the moment, he's still in third. Fourth, sorry.
He certainly is, and I think Riley's starting to realize that if they keep battling the way they have been, that the cars ahead are just going to slip away. Right now we have a battle forming with the number 6 of Tony Repsard, who's right now in a 3-car train between Jordi Lopez Jr. himself and David Williams. Williams is going to defend the inside coming down into Honda corner as we actually have a lockup in front of them. Oh, we have a spin actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Who is that? It's is that Fabio De Carmo? Is it? No,
it's Philippe Lebert.
It's Philippe Lebert. Yeah, so Philippe Lebert with the spin there. He was in 9th place. He's fallen down to 14th with that spin. But Tony Repsard is certainly trying to get the pressure on, but he's under pressure from behind. Jordi Lopez Jr. is certainly trying his best. As ahead of them, Fabio De Carmo is battling away with Joel Guez as well. And that is for 10th place. So as we said earlier, battles forming all the way through this race. And don't say we're going to get a finish, maybe not with the front, but don't say we're going to get a finish like we did at Spa.
There's certainly some interesting things happening up and down this field. And we're seeing with this long front straightaway, we're seeing the draft. We're seeing right now Joe Guez is going to defend the inside.
Oh, De Vries is off. Yeah, Ian De Vries has pushed out wide there by Bruno De Carmo. So that's put De Carmo up into 4th place, and Riley Preston has got an opportunity here to try and pull away from them now, but at the moment Bruno De Carmo able to hold on to the back of them, but Ian De Vries now under pressure from Klaus Ellenbrand, who's looking to the inside into Honda, climbing all over the curbs there, and well, had to get out of that one because it would have been contact.
Yeah, definitely a good move there to just, to know that he had to get out of it, know that there would have been contact, and just, discretion is often the better part of valor. But looking back out front, Martin van Loosenhout got himself a 2-second gap over Marc Perez. Marc Perez is really kind of just, I don't want to say his pace has fell off, but he's not been able to stretch the gap to the P3 and P4 the way that Martin has. Right now we have the 12 car of Joel Guez still fighting with the Fabio De Carmo in the number 14 as they head down through Lucky Heights into turn 10. The gap is a little bit, it's settled down a little bit, but this is really a 4 or 5 car train we have here, Paul.
Well, these guys have been battling away the last sort of lap or so, and that's brought John Allott, Tom Ward, and David Williams all into this battle now. So they're getting onto the back of this. They're getting the draft from the cars ahead. And you look at it, you've got this 4-car train here, a little bit of a gap, and then another 4-car train as we've got a car coming out the pits at the moment. Just to let you know, we have lost Lucas Goch and Ken Bolabasi that we saw earlier on, but still, we've got 21 drivers still circulating around this track as they go into turn 2, Southern Loop.
Yep, Joel doesn't get the greatest run. We're actually going to see Fabio Carmo look on the outside, come down and on a corner. He's going to he's going to have the inside to Stoner, but he's going to need to be very deep on the brakes to get this move done on the outside, and he gets it done. Joel Guez just kind of gives up the spot there, Paul.
Fabio Carmo, yeah, so he's behind Joel Guez, but he's still fighting back through Siberia, and Fabio Carmo has made it through. He's made it stick, and up to 10th place for Carmo, but John Allott now right behind. And this, like I said, it's a 4-car train, and there they are, they're all together. There's only about a couple of tenths covering all of them as around the outside. Is that John Allott all the way around? No, it isn't. It's Joel Guez who's looking to the inside now of turn 10. And then you've got these last 2 corners here that dictate the speed that you carry all the way down that start-finish straight. At the moment, Joel Guez slotting back in front of John Allott, but John Allott now under pressure from behind from Tom Ward.
Yeah, that fighting, Fabio Carmo is going to love the fact that they're fighting, and right now he's able to stretch a little bit of a gap over the likes of Joel Guez and John Allott. However, behind them is actually we have a slow car going down into turn 1 who's just letting all these cars by. But we saw it there when the going down in the Lukey Heights. We saw that car get out of shape there. You know, like you said, this is really a 4-car train, and you know, if you're off pace, you better get off the track because the train is coming through. Looking back out front, Riley Preston has done a good job to actually reel in Mark Perez here. It's down to about 3/4 of a second. Riley Preston is going to have the draft here on Mark Perez as they come, or as they work their way through Siberia, headed down towards Lukey Heights now. If he's able to maintain this gap, he will have the draft coming off of turn 12, and he may be able to make a move going into turn 1.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for Riley, but we've only got about 6 laps remaining at the moment, so he's gonna have to get a shift on. He's gonna have to really get the hammer down and push the throttle into the Axminster to try and get that move done towards the end of the race. Because really, he would like to be in second place at least. By the way, up at the front, Matt van Loozenhoop now 2.4 second lead. So as we say, really being able to pull away that gap. But this last lap by Matt Perez, he has done a 25.6. Riley Preston a 25.6. So really close between those two. But that draft, it's not really coming into effect yet from where Riley is, and have to close up that gap a little bit more.
Yeah, they certainly have. And talking about lap times, he said Riley Preston a 25.6, Mark Perez a 25.6, Martin van Loozenhoort a 25.6. As right now we have the number 8 car of Tom Ward. Again, in that battle that we've been talking about, you know, this several car train, we're having to look back and forth throughout this field. Really, I mean, this is like the sort of thing you would see at a super speedway in America, all with the amount of cars we have in a line right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 6 cars, 7 cars here, all battling away, and John Allott, well, he's struggling there. He has lost the place to Tom Ward this lap, and John Allott is having to hold off David Williams there, with Phillip Leybert down to 15th place now, down to 16th. Was that Leybert going round? It was. No, it was Phillip Leybert.
Yeah, Jordi Lopez got into Phillip Leybert. Excuse me, sorry about that. But yeah, that was just you know, some hard driving there, and I think Philippe really, you know, he kind of closed the line there on Jordi. So that was, you know, that was I think was just a race, you know, kind of a racing deal. Very, very tight place, very, very tight quarters there, that part of the circuit.
Absolutely, and he's got a little bit of damage now on that rear wing as well as Philippe Leybert, so certainly not going to assist him down the start-finish straight. Going to cost him a few kilometres an hour as well at the front of that big queue that we had there. Joel Guez is still battling away with Fabio Di Carmo down that start finish straight. And there's still, this is a battle for 10th place, don't forget. They're battling away intensely as here comes Tom Ward, looking wide into the southern loop, trying to carry the speed all the way through the southern loop, but just not able to get caught up to Joel Guez, who's he's trying to put the car off in front. He's taking all sorts of different lines and into Honda corner. Well, Tom Ward is going to have to get defensive because here comes John Allett around the outside of Honda corner. And well, he's going to have the inside line into Siberia, and John Allett has made that move stick.
Fantastic move by John there. Actually, we got that car in the back, who I believe is David Williams. Got really twitchy coming off of Siberia there. Definitely did a good job to hold it under. But yeah, we're having some... the way this racing is, you almost have to be offensive to be defensive, because if you just decide to sit back for one corner, there's one or two cars that are basically going to pounce on you. And actually, speaking of, we got, I believe, well, we have David Williams off. John Allett was looking up the inside of Joel Guez there. It's just anything that happens to one car seems to affect two or three more. David Williams, he spun going down into the corner. He basically just got on the dirt. That was just his own mistake there. Definitely unfortunate for him, because he's going to lose a lot of time and as well as positions.
I could tell you also, Riley Preston has made it up into second place. Tom Ward is battling away as well with John Allett there. Yeah, Riley Preston up to second place now, so he was able to catch up that gap to Mark Perez, and he's made that move into turn one. So good work from Riley to get into second to recover from the not ideal start that he got. But yeah, looking at this this battle here, John Allett is on the back now of Joel Guez, and well, Guez hasn't kept Fabio Di Carmo hasn't been able to get away from these lot. Three wide into the entry of Honda corner. John Allett runs it out wide, but he's going to have the inside into Siberia. We've seen him do it before, and he gets it in front of Guez and makes that move stick. Brave stuff from John Allett, but it worked.
Yeah, it certainly did. They thought about three wide there for a moment, and he was able to hold that outside line. And you know, three wide in a Honda corner doesn't really work out well. Luckily, these cars are somewhat narrow, and there's a little bit of room down there. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of aggressive driving from this group of four cars right now. And really, Fabio Di Carmo, I think it's really going to be the automatic now here as they head down into turn one for what will be, I believe, the second to final time, as Martin Van Luthenard is currently on lap 17 of this 18-lap event. Actually, just starting lap 17. So yeah, they're coming off turn 12 now, and we're going to be interesting to see how this draft works and how, well, you can see it already. John Allett swung out of the outside of Fabio Di Carmo here. And I think Fabio's probably just going to let him get that move done in the turn. Actually, nope, he's going to fight him, Paul. What do I know?
Yeah, what do you know indeed, as you can see the dust getting kicked up there. But John Allett's making that move stick on the inside of Southern Loop. He's going to compromise his exit a little bit there, though, because he's taken the tighter line. Fabio Di Carmo's not able to get up alongside him, so John Allett making that move stick. And in fact, Di Carmo having to go defensive against Guez there behind, because Joel Guez now around the outside. We've seen this from John Allett a couple of times. Can he make the move stick into the inside of Siberia? No, he can for this lap, but Fabio Di Carmo won't be happy about that. Matt Perez is back ahead of Riley Preston. Is this what Preston planned? Is he deliberately behind him so that he has the draft through the turn 12 down that start-finish straight so he can get that move done and to do it?
It certainly might be, as Mark Perez, he needs to get a good run off of turn 12 here. This is, I think, going to be the deciding turn 12 and the deciding front straightaway. Mark, he's got some good speed. Actually, no, Mark's almost letting him by. It feels like he's several miles per hour down, and Riley's already side by side. This is going to be really tough for Mark here, as he's going to have to get this job done through really the toughest passing opportunities on the track. Obviously, turn one is the best, although he will have that draft coming down into the last lap. And really, Paul, where do you want to be? Do you think you want to be the car ahead starting this lap, or do you want to be the car behind to get that run off of turn 12?
I think at the moment you want to be the car ahead, because then you can dictate the pace through those final few tighter corners. But Riley Preston certainly under pressure from Matt Perez as he's looking around the outside of Honda corner, able to make that move stick. In fact, run a little bit wide, gets a little bit squirrely on the exit there of the AstroTurf. Riley Preston now looking at wider entry into Siberia to carry the speed through. And, well, he's got a 0.4 second of a lead over Marc Perez there. And Matt van Loosenhoed out the front, 2.5 seconds. Yeah, he wasn't able to pull away to quite the extent that he was in those the last 2 weeks. Martin van Loosenhoed still out the front there. We've still got the battling going on behind Fabio De Carbo, Tom Ward and Joel Goes. That's going to go down to the line, is that one as well. We're going into the final corner. Martin van Loosenhoed is going to come across with the winner, but we're looking back here because Matt Perez is in the draft there. He's behind Riley Preston. Preston is going to have to go defensive here, and I think it's just too late for Matt Perez to make that move work. And no, he ends up finishing in third place as Perez, so Riley Preston able to hold on to that second place. Further back, John Allett, he's ahead of that group. Fabio De Carmo, Tom Ward and John Wes, and well, it's going to stay like that as well, so not really any changes there. And well, just looking further back, we've got Burkhard Mehring and is that Philip Leber? Or no, it's not. It is well, it's Burkhard Mehring get ahead of Jürgen Frank. So Mehring able to get that position there into 18th place for him at the end of that race. And well, I called it at the start of the last lap that was what Riley Preston wanted to do. It was less than a tenth of a second between them, but in the end, Riley Preston was able to pull it out.
Yeah, well, you know, Paul, sometimes even a blind squirrel finds a nut, but yeah, you definitely didn't call it there. And this is actually a very good race. It was much cleaner than what we saw at Zandvoort. We really only saw that one incident where we saw Kembolski, you know, basically getting flipped over. Saw a couple other little taps with some spins, but I don't think it was anything too bad. We didn't see nearly as many, you know, personal incidents as we saw last week at Zandvoort. In my opinion, a much better race, and you know, I think if you look at the timing sheets, it really shows it. The fact that Martin wasn't able to just run away with this and, you know, really only had that 2.5 second advantage.
Absolutely. So we're going to look at those finishing positions, and in first place, the winner once again on Friday night prime time. He is Mr. Prime Time. It's Martin van Loosenhoed, 2.5 seconds ahead of Riley Preston in second. Matt Perez just not able to make that move stick into third place. He goes. Bruno De Carmo ended up finishing in fourth with Arjen de Vries in fifth place. We saw him battling for a podium position, de Vries, but not able to make it stick in the end. Sixth place was Klaus Ellenbrand with seventh Justin Brunner. Eighth David Jarvis with Cy Andre in ninth. John Allett able to get up into 10th place. Good work from him, starting 14th. Fabio De Carmo finished 11th with Tom Ward in 12th. Just behind him with Joel Goes in 13th. We saw them battling it out through that race there. Jordan Lopez Jr. in 14th with David Williams 15th. Repsard in 16th with Philip Leber. We saw him have that little incident. We saw him have a spin as well. So not a good day from Philip there in 17th place. Burkhard Mehring in 18th. Jürgen Frank in 19th. And then the cars laps down. You've got Patrick Raymond, Angus Waddle, Lucas Gutch, and as we saw, Kem Bassey at turn 10 getting flipped over. And as you say, cleaner racing today, but certainly a good race to enjoy there, Andy.
Yeah, it definitely was some good fighting up and down the field. We had that fight between Riley and Mark happening basically the whole way, as well as that fight for the, you know, John Allett and Fabio and Tom Ward and Joel Guas, and you know, there was so many people there. It's you know, it's hard to remember who all was fighting there for that P10 spot. But yeah, some great racing, and we're definitely going to see that as we go into a round 4 next week at the historic. Well, we saw a bit of drafting at Spa, but it's going to pale in comparison to what we see next week at Monza.
Yeah, absolutely. 12 laps of the Grand Prix track at Monza. You've got heavy braking zones into the chicanes. You've got the iconic Lesmo corners. You've got also the Parabolica, such a historic corner there as well at Monza. And don't forget, tomorrow the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Tomorrow from 1:30 on iRacing Live. You'll be able to watch that championship. Fantastic racing as always. from them. So we're looking forward to that. But yeah, Monza next week. That is going to be an interesting race. Plenty of history at that Grand Prix track. But well, Martin van Loosenhoorn once again. I'm starting to call him Mr. Primetime because he is. Friday Night Primetime is once again Martin van Loosenhoorn's for the day. We'll see you. So that is it from the broadcast today. It is, well, goodbye from myself, Paul Smith, and Randy Chenoweth with Hugo Louis on the cameras. You've been watching the iRacing Formula Renault 2.0 Championship from Phillip Island here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Until next week, we'll see you later. Goodbye.